It's the book club, and this time a story about an evil desk? Yes, this is Gothic by Philip Fracassi. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Dave Musson, and this is a place where often I talk to you about Stephen King, but in this series I'm talking about horror books that aren't written by Stephen King, that I've read recently, had a lot of fun with, and think you will enjoy as well. Yeah, this is my book club, where in each episode I give you a synopsis of the book, a bit about the author, a spoiler-free review, and I try and align it to a Stephen King book to help give you that point of reference, to help you decide if you're going to go and check this out for yourself. And if you do check these out and you like them, make sure you, once you've read them, that you review them and rate them on Amazon, Storygraph, Goodreads, all of those places. And if you really like them, rave about them on your social media, tell your friends, buy them copies, all of that kind of stuff. There are more than 60 books in my book club right now, so you can go and explore those and maybe find something cool to put on your list of things you'd like to read. This time, a fantastic cursed object story that was first released in 2022, but is getting a reissue today as this video drops, 11th of November 2025. This is Philip Fracassi's story, Gothic. Okay, here's your synopsis of Gothic. From Bram Stoker and British Fantasy Award nominated author Philip Fracassi, backed by popular demand comes a new edition of his cult classic Gothic, in which a washed-up horror novelist is gifted an antique desk that channels an ancient darkness, one that flows onto the page and strangles his life. Horror Orson Tyson Parks thinks his best days are behind him. He misses the heydays of the 1980s and 90s when he was ruling the horror fiction charts, and now finds himself scrambling to remain a relevant author. He hasn't had a hit in years, his agent won't take his calls, and he's never felt older. Then, on his 59th birthday, his girlfriend gives him the gift of a monstrous antique desk. Rejuvenated by the desk's mysterious energy, he begins writing with an all-consuming passion and a savage darkness he hasn't felt in decades, and is eager to get his career back on track. Unfortunately, the desk and the evil spirit that harbours within has other plans. It won't stop until it gets what it wants, even if it must destroy Tyson and everyone he holds dear in the process. In this terrifying novel of art, obsession, and the horror of creation, Fracassi shows why he's become a fan favourite among contemporary horror authors. Now in a brand new edition which includes a never-before-seen excerpt, Gothic is a dread-fueled dive into what a writer is willing to do to serve the muse and his own desires. And a bit about the author. So Philip Fracassi is the Bram Stoker and British Fantasy Award nominated author of the novels A Child Alone with Strangers, Gothic, Boys in the Valley, The Third Rule of Time Travel, and The Autumn Springs Retirement Home Massacre. He's also the author of the story collections Behold the Void, Beneath a Pale Sky, and No One is Safe. His stories have been published in numerous magazines and anthologies, including Black Static, Best Horror of the Year, Nightmare Magazine, Interzone, and Southwest Review. Philip lives in Los Angeles, and you can find him on Facebook, Instagram, or Blue Sky, or on his website. So there you go, there's your background. Now it's time for my spoiler-free review of Gothic. So this was my first time reading Philip Fracassi, and it definitely won't be my last. I had such a good journey reading this book. Yeah, about a haunted desk, an evil spirit-possessed desk that does all of those things and helps an author get over his writer's block and produce a best-selling novel. Fantastic. So this is a reissue of the previously issued one. I heard the author talking about this on the Talking Scared podcast recently, so I was delighted when it then popped up on my NetGalley feed and I was able to get a review copy. And yeah, I just burned through this. This story is so tightly written, it really moves, it doesn't hang around at all. And it's got this narrative style that keeps you sprinting from set piece to set piece to set piece, but still with enough backstory to properly hook you in and make you feel invested in the whole thing. So I remember in that podcast interview, the author saying that this tale initially started life as a short story, and it was quite a long short story, but was kind of in that awkward length of being too long to really do anything with, but too short to be a novel. So his editor suggested, well, make it a novel then, which is what he did. Now, far from just padding it out, what we get is a complete novel that feels really breezy and is pulpy and gory and hits like 1980s King does. I mean, yes, you have to kind of leave your disbelief at the door, but hey, we're reading horror, that's par for the course, right? So our lead character, Tyson Parks, is a massive dick, and he is brilliantly drawn in this book. So you can understand his desperation, his motivations, And in his darkest moments, you do kind of feel sympathy for him. But then his greed just shines through and you think, actually, yeah, you're getting everything you deserve. He definitely feels like a throwback, a real boomer horror writer, but he also feels pretty real and credibly created. Even though you don't necessarily like him, he works as a compelling lead character. I also like how well drawn the wider cast of characters are here. There are enough to make it feel real, but not so many that it's overwhelming. It just feels like we're immersed in Tyson's world and we're seeing all of the key players in it. My only real critique is that I wanted more from the character Diana Montresor, who is this strange, mysterious woman who is tracking down the desk. Like, her setup is brilliant and patient, and then her arc just kind of tails off in a really hasty and unsatisfying manner. There are historical fiction passages in this as well, which give us more of the backstory of the desk, and they're really well done. So we get to go back hundreds of years across Europe and see these warlocks who are drawn in by the desk and see them burn just for the sake of the desk. It's fascinating stuff. And it also adds weight to this artifact and makes you even more curious to see what's going to happen when it ends up in Tyson's study in the present day. But it's the set pieces that are the real winner here. Like the image of the desk reaching out, piercing Tyson's skin, telling him what to write. All of that stuff is great. But it's the scene where Tyson's partner Sarah goes snooping in the desk that really wins for me. Just grim and gory. Fracassi writes revulsion absolutely brilliantly. Oh, and body horror. He's good at that too. Yeah, the body horror throughout this is fantastic. From the desk falling and crushing someone's leg right at the start to the blood-soaked climax. It's all great. So when it comes to comparing this to a Stephen King book, I mean, it's Christine. There's even a point in this book where two characters are discussing what's going on and they say, it's Christine, but with a desk. Job done. So in summary, if you're looking for beautiful, literary, polished horror, this book ain't it, and it shouldn't ever be it. This is nasty, blunt, hateful, and just straight up mean. And it's a real treat. Something of a throwback for sure, but you will have a lot of fun with it, I'm certain. Oh, and get this, remember me saying that I heard about this reissue on a podcast interview? Yeah, well, in that interview, Philip Fracassi also said there's a sequel on the way. And I'm in. Definitely. So this one comes out today as this video drops, 11th of November 2025. If you want the reissued one, there is obviously the original already out there. Huge thanks to the publisher and to NetGalley for the review copy. And all I will say now is do this in remembrance of me. So there we go, Gothic on the book club. I had a lot of fun with it. Are you going to be checking this one out? Have you already read it? Get involved, let me know. And if you've read more Fracassi than this, which one should I check out next? I'm pretty keen to get some more of him on my TBR. I've got Boys in the Valley in a pile over there, so maybe I'll read that one next, but who knows? If you've got any other suggestions, let me know. Now, if you've come this far, I'm going to throw a few quick plugs at you. Everything I want to plug is linked down below, but those things are my collection of short stories, Once More Around the Sun, my Stephen King trivia book, my range of Stephen King themed band t-shirts, and the fact that you can become a member of this channel, become a constant viewer, support me directly, get extra content, all of that kind of stuff. If none of those work for you, no problem. Thank you for watching. That makes a massive difference. Subscribe if you haven't done so already, and tell a friend to help me get more subscribers in here. And that's about it. I will see you again very soon. And, well, happy reading.